was. I think it's probably 4-H, getting up in front of the group and presenting. Then he's like, Mom, I don't want to do this. Too bad. You're going to take me someday.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, he did. He did a really good job. And,
Now, is that an Alliance Church? Or?
no, it's a non-denomination. It's called River Church in Bozeman. More on you guys,
Charismatic and
yeah. So most of them are up front, they're in the back doing their flags or dancing. But
Hi, Dave.
yeah, he was been a pastor forever, and he started in the Nazarene.
Oh.
And then when he discovered the Holy Spirit, he's like, and he started preaching on it, and they finally Elvis told him he could leave. So he started his own church. Yeah. Scott preached on.
Oh, he does, okay.
How was it worded? I took a couple notes, but I was just busy. About if things are not going the way we want them to, okay, let's say you want to get married, you're a young gal, you want to get married, but you're not finding the God. So then God's not good. So then you take things into your own hands. Maybe date or marry a non-believer.
Do you have anything that you're going to say?
No, it doesn't work that way.
That kind of stuff goes all the way back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who took things in their own hands, and look what they created. Oh, good. Good.
And went up and talked with them afterwards. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I said, my heart broke. I said, I'm praying for you.
That's all
So I
right. I
asked
just
him if he was sleeping with me. He said,
For a while there,
and
bring up
I'll
the
pray.
fact that,
Yeah, because last year was a tough year with my brother going after garden.
I think that would be really
Sure.
With Mitch getting out of prison, and now he was clean for 2 months, and he OD'd at the end of December. I'm not sure what exactly what's going to happen with him, but I'm like, God, finally I just cried out.
So that's, I was just
You gotta
wondering
feel
if you
please,
would.
I can't handle this. And it's been good since then.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Phil appreciated your offers to pray for him.
First, so I pray every day, every night for him. And have a good night's sleep. It's just no fun waiting. Are you ready? I said, we all do stupid things. I said, I'm so sad that this one is costing you a lot. Yeah.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need a motion to adopt the consent agenda as an order of business.
So moved.
Second?
And is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. We need to consider the following. Approve the minutes of December 17th, 2018 Board of Education meeting. Approve the financial report for the period of July 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018. Approve the bills for the period of December 1st, 2018 through December 31st in the amount of $2,145,461.08.
Make a motion that we approve all of these.
Second.
Any discussion on any of it? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Legislative update. We didn't have a legislative breakfast this week because in January we miss it by a week. So next week Carrie and I will be there, but during this time Carrie has some information from the Blue Ribbon Commission, which is really very important for us to listen to. So Carrie.
Yep, we did. We were able to see the recommendations from the Blue Ribbon Commission, and actually we're going to talk at the legislative breakfast with the legislators about their feelings about what came out, but I guess what I just wanted to do is highlight some of the things that we're going to be looking at in the Blue Ribbon Commission's recommendation related to. First of all is per pupil aid adjustment, and of course that's something that we have been looking at for a while, and so they want to try to get that so that it's more equal across the state and not, dependent upon how wealthy you are, but per pupil. Addressing the issue of declining enrollment, which is another thing that we have been working with here in Plymouth School District. And addressing the cost of providing an appropriate education for English language learner students. And this is one of the areas that the Blue Ribbon Commission found that they did not do, that the state of Wisconsin does not do, well, really at all, a very good job of this. And so, there were suggestions within the recommendations, such as counting students, weighting students for their count so that you get extra funding for these particular students. Increase the aid for special education students, again, trying to get back up to that 2/3 funding, which was promised years ago, and we've never been able to get to. Provide more resources for gifted and talented education, which as we could see in our resolutions, that the amount of money that supports the gifted and talented education is minimal, and it would be nice to have more of that. And then also additional funding for mental health incentives for school districts. Those are the highlighted ones that I picked out that related to us. I can send you the full report. They also had in the report incentives for being able to look at consolidation of school districts. So I think that that's something that's been on the radar for quite a while, especially up in the very northern counties. But that's something too that the Blue Ribbon Commission is looking at. So I think we'll be taking those issues on, as well as the resolutions that we discussed at the Committee of the Whole meeting, and Sally, you'll be voting on at the state convention. And I think the two we're probably going to take up first will be the special education and the voucher resolution. So that's kind of where we're at. And again, the report is pretty big, but I can send it to anybody who would like to read it. and if you have any questions, just let me know.
I just want to emphasize, this is a bipartisan commission, so the Democrats and the Republicans all got together and reasonably discussed what is best for Wisconsin education. And I'm really in concurrence with everything on that list. I think it's wonderful. I think we have to work at it. I will, even though I'm retiring, you can bet your bottom dollar I will be contacting our state legislature and be working with them as much as I can to help go along with the Blue Ribbon Commission.
Yep. It is a bipartisan, and actually it was a commission that was commissioned by Governor Walker, and it's been about a 1.5 to 2-year commission that's been working on this. So yeah, so, good.
Okay.
All right.
Academic Pillar of Excellence, Elementary, STEM, and Robotics. Nick O'Malley. Mr. O'Malley, please.
Do you want to introduce him, Dan?
Nick will be bringing along Chris Helmer to talk about it as well. So as you know, every year we do the Academic Pillar of Excellence, and for a few years now we've been working on improving our STEAM and STEM offerings to the elementary schools, down from the high school to the middle to the elementary. Kids in this district have an opportunity to do science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And so we've really been putting a lot of emphasis lately into trying to have the materials, the wherewithal, the know-how to work in those areas in the elementary, so kids can get into coding, can get into robotics, can get into all kinds of cool and important economically activities even when they're little, so that they can build an interest, build an aptitude, and then matriculate up through the grades. So we thought, they're doing it all over. Fairview's doing a great job of it, so let's have Nick and Chris and have them come in and talk about what it looks like, and they're actually going to show you some pictures about what it looks like. So,
Thanks, Dan. It was not quite a year ago, I was here at a board meeting when Kohler Company donated a robot, and I thought that night, it was really exciting, and I thought that night, boy, I bet the board would like to hear about how we're continuing this learning and starting it all the way down at the elementary level, so I'm very happy that we have that opportunity tonight. Tonight you're going to see how our robotics program fits into our academic pillar, by providing innovative and entrepreneurial curriculum, K-12, and also our community engagement pillar by partnering with other organizations to meet our goals. So that's exciting as well. The Fairview staff members that make this program happen include our fourth grade teachers, who are Renee Reimer, Angelina Delgado, and our library media specialist, Shelley Taylor. But the program, as we have in our building, is the brainchild of Chris Helmer, a special education teacher, and he's going to give you all the details tonight.
Thanks. So anyway, the idea that I had came across when I worked at a previous school district. There's our STEM teacher went and would do this Lego robotics project with some students. And I thought, well, this is really kind of cool with the idea of pushing that STEAM initiatives to kids. I'm like, well, how can we get this started at the elementary school? And then the Plymouth Education Foundation came the idea with their grants. So I thought, well, here, I can apply for a grant and see what I can get. So kind of did some research, again, looking at Legos. Legos, I thought, really cool. Kids are into them, but they're also a lot more expensive. So I was looking at some other things. So I found this other kit. It's called a Hummingbird Robotics Kit, and it basically is a circuit board that is kind of like the little brain for it and hooks up to a computer, and then you got LED lights and motors and sensors that all connect with that. And I actually, after researching, I liked this even better than the Lego one because it really connected with some of the curriculum that we were using in fourth grade as well. So I went with that route, wrote a grant, and got approved. And from there, then I met with my fourth grade team, also talked with some of the STEAM teachers that I had at the time, and kind of put all this project together. So from there, just kind of talking about the Education Foundation grant, is after putting it all together, I'll talk a little more detail about the project itself in a minute, but then after it's all over, then I have to kind of give like a year-end summary, and some of the pictures that are in here also been presented to them, and kind of talk about like some of the challenges and how did the project go, and just thoughts that I have on the future. So really, none of this could have been possible without that Education Foundation grant. So I'm just very thankful for approving me and letting me do it. So. Anyway, for the program itself, like I said, it kind of merges two programs. We do electricity at fourth grade, and we also do coding, or a program called Hour of Code. Hour of Code, if you haven't heard about it, is just an initiative where there's like these hour-long little snippet programs that are really designed to get kids or people interested in computer coding. And Shelley Taylor really is the leading force in the Hour of Code in the district. She goes around to the different elementary schools and presents and teaches this with the kids. And then, like I said, in fourth grade, we learn about electronics. So they have the batteries, hook up a light bulb, make sure that they can get the wires to work, and learn about the connections with electricity and all that. So, like I said, with this circuit board, with the Hummingbird Robotics Kit, it takes those two things and puts them together. So the kids have to know how the wiring works, because they have their, like I said, the LED lights and sensors, and they have to connect those to their circuit board, and then have them function in a model that they will then build. Most of them are out of boxes, and you'll see in a minute here, they could be like a room in a house, or a lot of them are like bathrooms and things like that. So they have to design a room and have these little designing parts in there as well. So kind of taking those two things, like I said, merging them together, and to kind of go about the process with that, I have to first teach them like the parts. So like, how does your LED work? How does the sensor work? And how do you get the coding on the computer to get those parts then to work? And I mean, it's great to see the kids when they're, when I hit the A button, the light's gonna turn on, or if I hit the space bar, that's gonna turn the sensor on, and if I have my sensor programmed correctly, that'll get my little vibration motor to wiggle and make noise and things like that, and just to see them all get excited that it actually worked and did what it was supposed to do. And then from there, like after I've taught them the basics, then like they always like to push it for like, can I do 2 lights? Can I do like a gear motor that'll turn. I'm like, yes, you can, they get time to explore and do some of these things on their own, and they do, and just, yes, the room gets very, very loud because everyone's getting all excited, and they want to see what the other person's doing and things like that. So anyway, so they learn and they practice. And I guess the downside to it is the computer does what it's also told. So there's also a lot of frustration with that too, like, I got it programmed, the light should be turning on, and, well, of course, it's not because they didn't have the wire plugged into the correct slot or things like that. And there's always lots of problem solving and brainstorming going on with that as well. So anyway, so after I teach them all this stuff, they are given a project to do, and their project is basically to save a resource. And it's based off of, in Vietnam, there's like an energy shortage, which is an actual real-life situation over there. And so that's the premise, like, okay, you need to save energy. If it's electricity, heat, water, some kind of resource, and then use what you've learned with coding and your computers and your sensors and all this stuff, and develop something. They have to make a little proposal, and they're in little groups of 2 or 3. They do some research, and then they, submit to myself or one of the other teachers. And from there, it's like, okay, you're approved, and now they have to design it. And then after they're designed, they got to kind of plan out, what am I going to do first, what am I going to do second, and then make, like I said, this little model. That's why I said a lot of them are like bathrooms, because a lot of them are saving hot water, or you hear a lot of saving electricity and things like that. And that's where a lot of those sensors come in. Some of the sensors that they'll use is there's a heat sensor, a motion sensor, a light sensor. There's also a sound one. We don't really use that one a whole lot just because the room's already so loud that it probably won't work very well. But there's quite a few of them that they can incorporate into there. So anyway, after they design their little project, they have a couple things that they need to do after that. They need to, what I do is I record them, is what I should say. They do a little video recording presentation. We got an example of that in here, explaining what their project is, some of the parts they've used, what resource they're saving, and then kind of demonstrate what it is. And then the other part of it is we do a little robotics fair, where we invite parents, other kids in the school, and everyone takes their little project and it's set up on tables, and everyone can come through, and the kids basically teach the other kids coming in, like, well, this is what I did and why, and they have to kind of explain what they did. And it's kind of cool and exciting to see that. And then to kind of go along with that, we have a community engagement piece that goes along with this. And we had, was it Mark? I'm sorry. Mark Fike came in. He was the guy presented from Kohler with the robot. And he came in and presented to us with our 4th grade students. And really kind of neat. He showed different little videos of some of the robots they use at Kohler and like how it works. And then because we talked about coding, like there's times when the coding is learning and you need to make corrections just like they had to do with their project. And like it would show like a robot grabbing a part and the part is 90 degrees the wrong way. Like, okay, obviously this was a fail and they're going to have to work on that. So he showed some of that and just some of the different robots that they have. I mean, some are some of the little ones that, that are moving tiny little parts, and then you got large ones that are moving, like, say, an engine around. So that was really kind of cool. I also had, I believe they're high school students. I believe they're from Mr. Daniel's computer class that's up here, and they presented also to the students about apps that they had designed. And so talked to the kids there, and how, of course, then the kids kind of asked, well, how did you get interested and started into this? And they kind of talked about their experiences as well. And so that's something that they can look forward to. And I'm going to be having a professor from Lakeland coming this year. They'll also be presenting to our class this year. So I'm hoping to get that arranged real soon. Basically, benefits for everything is just exposure to science and the coding, and that's especially like really prominent very important, just for, women, just because there are not as many of them in science, and some of the projects developed by everybody are just really, really cool. And I mean, the big things are their problem solving, they have to reason, and developing their creativity. Big one's developing that teamwork, working in a group. I mean, that one's really hard for them, and they get to practice that. They also have to practice, their public speaking, because they have to make a video for me. They got to talk to people when they present at their little fair. And then also prioritizing and organization is another big one. It's kind of neat. They all want to worry about like their little figurine that's going to be, demonstrating what's happening. I'm like, that's not the big part. Like, worry about your sensors or your coding. I mean, make sure it works first, then worry about your little person that's going to be moving around. So, yeah, that's really our robotics project.
We put together, Chris, we put together a little slideshow just to show some pictures and give you a little idea of what we're talking about here. The kids are more technically advanced than I am. I tried to make it fancier, it just didn't happen. So it starts with the coding with Shelley Taylor and Chris and the teachers. And they're creating video games using code. Okay, so oops. One for one. Yep, hit that right over here.
Okay, Jaden, why don't you tell us about your coding project here?
So, I am on a coding website called Hour of Code. So you can, the lesson 12 is very, very cool because you can build your own Flappy Bird game, and you can make it however you want. You can make it normal, you can make it different, you can choose how much you want it to flap, you can choose the speed, you can choose the background, you can choose your bird.
Awesome, why don't you show us the video game you made?
Alright, so this is my video game, and I think it's really cool. So you have a little Santa Claus there because I wanted it to be Santa Claus. And then it's just like regular Flappy Bird.
Cool. Do you think that you might use computer programming in your future someday?
I want to be a baseball player, but I probably could.
John and I are going to spring
They move to the recording of the robots themselves and building the robots.
So here you see like all the little wires in the boxes. That's part of that Hummingbird kit. And they use a program that's called Scratch, is like the coding program that they use.
So girls, tell me about what you did here.
So what we did is we went onto a little coding website called Scratch, where it allows us to do coding and do different things at the same time. So as you can see right here, it says when space key pressed. So it allows us to hit this space key and then everything will turn on in like 5 seconds or something like that. And so what this motor does, it's called a vibration motor. And so when you hold it, it's just going to like spin in circles, the silver part, and it's going to vibrate. What this does is
It's a tricolor.
Yeah, so you can make it different colors. You can make it green
or red.
Yeah. And then what this does is it's going to turn, so it'll go like
90 degrees and then 30 degrees.
Yes. So let's hit it. So as you can see, it's vibrating, and then that goes to 90 to 30 degrees, and then this light will turn on, and yeah, that's what it does.
Do you guys enjoy programming career?
Yes, it's super fun.
Do you think that's someday you might want to work as an engineer?
Maybe.
All right, thank you for showing me.
Yep.
baseball player.
Or play baseball.
This is when they get really excited to, you know, they have
This
a
is
vision
where the-
already, they've been approved and now they're creating, and they get to decorate their rooms and really bring it to life. We had an excellent turnout at the robotics fair this year. Lots of parents, and most of the teachers bring their classes down, and the smaller children really enjoy it and are amazed. And you can tell the pride that the older kids have showing their stuff off to the little kids. There's one shot we had from Mr. Fike from Kohler come. He also looked at the kids' designs too, which they took a lot of pride in.
We're at Fairview Elementary School with two fourth grade students, and they're going to be demonstrating their hummingbird robotics project.
Hello, my name is Jada. And my name is Agnew. The resource we're trying to save is electricity. Some special parts we used were 3 LEDs, red, yellow, and green, a distance sensor, and a vibration motor. We thought of our project because we saw a stoplight waste electricity. So, our project will work. So the car will get on the road, and then the lights will turn on, and then when the car gets off the road, the lights will turn off. Now we will show you.
A little tough to see, but the lights did go through their cycle and then turn off when the car was off the road.
Yeah, the sensors are a little tricky, so they're very frustrated that the car got way far down on the road than they wanted, so it was supposed to go right away, but oh well.
We're at Fairview Elementary School with two fourth grade students who will be demonstrating their hummingbird robotics project.
Our names are Colton and Liam, and we're trying to save people. We're giving people exercise and saving electricity and keeping people from watching too much TV. And we use the LED and then the distance sensor. And then we have our motherboard right here. And we have Sherman, which we will be using to demonstrate like the sensor and stuff. Alright, so now we'll demonstrate. Okay, so our guy Sherman gets back from a nice night at City Club. He walks in, he watches on Netflix for 30 minutes, which is represented by 10 seconds. Then it turns off. Then he has to get up, run around and get exercise, and then it senses him again, and it turns on and he watches it, and it repeats until he has to go out again. And then he comes back from the City Club and does all that again. Thank you.
Where that came from, but somebody's been going to City Club for dinner, I guess.
That was our last one.
So that's what's been going on, and we're happy you guys had a chance to learn a little bit about it tonight. If you have any questions, we'll take them.
What was the amount of the foundation grant you used?
It was about $2,400, so. And
I
that
don't
was,
have a question, I just have a comment. I'm just so pleased that you brought in other people so they can see, you know, this is not something just for us kids, that it's actually used in real life, you know, by the Kohler person that came in and talked to them, and now you're gonna bring Lakeland teacher in and the older high school kids to say, oh, they're still doing that up there. And can
Yeah,
use
and that was
that.
something that I really, when I wrote the grant, that I was really hoping to do it, and then I was thankful that I was able to, like, it worked out great that, with Kohler, and now this year being able to bring in a Lakeland person, so.
They had just donated the robot here, so we got to make that connection about when you're in high school, you will
Right.
be able to use these. And we
Yep.
just, that's nice.
Yeah, that's great.
Excellent.
How fun.
There's a robotics club in the county. What age does that begin? Is that just a high school thing, or is that?
I know it's just high school.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know a lot. I've heard a little bit of rumblings about it, but I don't know a lot of details about that one, though.
It's first robotics.
Yes, first robotics. And we have had students participate. But typically what happens is it's a couple schools that come together and participate, not just Plymouth, but maybe Plymouth and Sheboygan Falls, and they have to get.
Valder.
Yeah, Valders has been involved, you're right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Far flung.
Yep.
This is being taught in all 3 elementaries?
Right now, it's just been at Fairview. I've been talking to the other schools, and the plan is for them to do it at the other schools as well. It wasn't just to be a Fairview thing. It's just managing to coordinate with the other buildings and when they'll be available to do this.
They are doing other types of STEM activities,
Okay.
and they do have some different STEM materials, different mini robot types of things in different places too. So this project is theirs, but there are other projects in the other 2 buildings as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've also talked with Roy Schwab, who's now our STEM, or Pegasus person. He worked with me with this last year already, and, as long as a school is not using it, he has access to this too if he ever needs it or wants it.
Yeah,
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice job. And thank you
Thank
to the
you.
Plymouth Education Foundation.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it sounds
Okay.
Yeah, we should be able to.
Thank you very much, Nick. Designation of available spaces for regular and special education open enrollment, Carrie Dassel.
Yes, this is actually the same thing that we went through, and we will go through every January, but according to Wisconsin state statutes, school boards must determine the number of regular and special education spaces available for open enrollment at the January board meeting, and we did discuss this at length at the Committee of the Whole meeting. The recommendations were sent in your board packet, and the administration recommends that you approve the open enrollment spaces as presented by the administration.
Okay, we need a motion.
Move that we accept the recommendations of the administration regarding open spaces.
I second.
Okay. Now, is there any discussion on this?
We did a lot of the discussion at the committee.
Yeah,
Yes.
the committee of the
I
whole
know,
meeting.
I know.
Just so the community knows that the limitation is due to lack of financial support that was it was verbally given to the school districts over the years ago, that we would get, 60% or 60%?
Well, there was a two-thirds.
Two-thirds funding, yeah. And it hasn't come through yet. So that's the reason. So all those in favor of accepting the school board,
The recommendation.
the recommendation from our staff, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And moving on, finance and building grounds. And we need to approve the 2017-2018 audit. John, did you have any more comments on this?
Not particularly. The audit report was presented to the board a month and a half ago. A little bit of discussion at the committee of the whole meeting. This is new for the board, I guess, to approve the audit as part of our new policy, but it's the typical audit where we had a very good financial year, and this is our auditor's findings, and there were no significant shortcomings other than the
one they always point out, which is that we don't employ a CPA, so therefore they have to prepare the audit report.
Okay. So we need a motion.
Move we approve the 2017-2018 audit report.
Second.
Okay, is there any more discussion on that? I have one thing to say, John. It did cure my insomnia. 100%, I fell asleep. All those in favor? Aye. Financial Subcommittee update report. Bob?
So facilities, right now, everything is on schedule as we move forward on our referendum building initiative. We should begin to see the erection of some of the steel superstructure for the multi-purpose building occurring by the end of January. In addition to that, then the elementary schools, the plans are being finalized. We're still tweaking a few things. By and large, we're on budget. There have been a few things that have come up along the way that have caused us to adjust some of our budgeting, but we're still okay.
Yeah, we're good.
And everything looks real good. So that's what we have so far. And we have a subcommittee meeting coming up on the 21st, if I say yes. All right?
Okay, very good. And we have to move on to item number C, consider gifts and corresponding budget adjustments. Carrie, please.
Yep, tonight we have $35 donated from Blair Siebert for Plymouth School District, a donation of $425.83 from Plymouth High School for FCCLA Club, transportation to Fox Valley Technical College, and that club is called Family, Careers, and Community Leaders of America, because I know someone will ask, well, what is that? A donation of $543.37 from Plymouth High School's Model UN, which is United Nations Club, for the transportation to Kenosha. A donation of $369.55 from Parkview's PTK for transportation to the Widener Center, and a donation of $1,328.77 from Riverview Middle School's PTO for transportation to the Milwaukee Public Museum and the Lakeshore Lanes. So my recommendation is that you accept these donations and the corresponding budget adjustments, and thank you very much for all of the community members who donated.
So we need a motion.
Make a motion that we consider the gifts and corresponding budget adjustments.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion?
Just thank you.
Hearing none, we move on. All in favor?
Aye.
Board liaison report. Community Ed, Sally.
Community Ed is always busy. There will be free movies here at the high school that anybody from the community can come to. They will be on this coming Friday, January 18th, Wednesday, February 20th, April 4th, and May 8th. Also, family swim time will be from 1 p.m. to 2:30, Saturday, January 19th, February 2nd, March 2nd, and April 6th. They have a hiking club, and this is free, but you need to register. You can choose between cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, or just hiking, depends if we have snow or not. Scuba diving will also be taking place Saturday, January 19th. The community will be having a community conversation discussing human trafficking, January 30th, 6 p.m. here at the high school. We also have, as I mentioned last month, the new Plymouth Area Information Hub. I went on it today. There's some tabs at the top. Click on each one. Just surf it. Anything that it's open to the community and you want to post there, you can go there and ask for your event to be posted on there. The website is PlymouthInfoHub.com. So it's going to be great to have one place to go to find out what's going on. And it's not just sports. There was a lot of stuff already on the calendar that I'm like, oh, that's cool. So now you get to go and look at it to see what it is. Any questions?
That is for everybody in the community? And generation centers could do
Yep.
that as well?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. As long as it's open to the public, that's the only.
It is.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Any other questions, Sally? Moving on, foundation, Bob?
Foundation, well, I was going to talk about grants, so thanks, Nick and Chris. You guys did an outstanding job talking about the benefit of the grants that the foundation puts together. This year, we'll continue with the grant, the formal application process for the grants. The applications are due April 14th. And again, the foundation is setting aside $20,000 for teachers and staff to put forth applications and apply for a portion of those funds to do the great work like you did with the Hummingbird robotics. In addition to that, this year, the foundation is going to set aside another $5,000 for a program that we're calling mini grants. And what we found is, as these projects go along and as the teachers throughout the year, sometimes it's difficult to plan for, wow, I've got this opportunity now, today. So with some back and forth, we figured out a way to set aside $5,000, and what that allows is anything that's $500 or less, a teacher during the school year could apply for a mini grant, and those grants then can help support whatever that is that the teacher's looking to do to enhance the educational learning within the classroom. So it's exciting that we can see the results of the money that we're given, and also to be able to offer this mini grant program hopefully will enhance the educational experience even more. And that's great stuff that's happening with the foundation. So if anybody has a little extra money in their pocket and they'd like to give it to something, please donate to the foundation. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bob.
Yep.
Family Resources, is there anybody? Okay.
No.
Professional Development Council, Richard?
It's always challenging to articulate the professional development when it's just in our DNA. It's all over. It's everything we are and everything we do. And so I participated in the administrators meeting. It was mostly administrators meeting the other day, and listened to what's happening with the Professional Development Day that's coming up this Friday, I believe. And for us to become our best, each individual has to improve their skills, and that's a continuous thing. But the system also needs to constantly be evaluating, and there's this interplay between, we focus on the individual, but we also got to focus on the system. And so that's kind of what's happening this coming Friday there's some individual work and there's some collaboration work. We have newer math and science standards that need to be kind of torn apart and Plymouthised and figured out how we're going to make that, what's it going to be. So the individuals have to look at the whole and figure out what that's going to look like. The elementary this Friday is going to be breaking up into individual schools. Often they're together, but they say, you know what, Fairview needs to work on some Fairview things that all fit within the scope of the whole, but and Horizon and of course Parkview as well. Riverview, they're taking a look at the need for students who can need to accelerate, needing a greater challenge. And so that's what they're going to be focusing in on. It's kind of the whole. And the high school's split in a day in half. Half of it is going to be individual teachers focusing on what they need. The other half is going to be departments focusing. So there's a constant back and forth interplay of making that one better as well as trying to make the whole better. So that's the way I see it.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Richard. Any questions of Richard? Moving on, then we have a personnel and support staff update, Carrie, please.
Yes, we have just the support staff update. Jess Anderson has been hired as a special education aide at Horizon Elementary School. Erica Pichette has been hired as a special education aide at Horizon Elementary School. Leslie Hernandez has been hired as a special education aide at Fairview Elementary School. Emily Donnie has been hired as a special education aide at Fairview Elementary School. McKaylee Mendal has been hired as a special education aide at Riverview Middle School. Joyce Watson has been hired as a server at Parkview Elementary School and Plymouth High School. David Cabourd has been hired as a custodian at the Plymouth High School. Lori Kosserman has been hired as a school nurse at Riverview Middle, has resigned as a school nurse at Riverview Middle School. Laura Wilmont has resigned as a custodian at Plymouth High School, and Laura has served the district for 1 year. And Barbara Scherschel has resigned as a special education aide at Fairview Elementary School, and Barbara has served the district for 2 years. That's all. That we have. That's update right now.
Thank you. And then we have a travel request now.
Yep, tonight the board is asked to consider an out-of-state travel for Bo Biller, automotive teacher at the Plymouth High School, to take students to Universal Technical Institute in Lisle, Illinois, to compete in the Top Tech Challenge on February 14th, 2019. And this request is consistent with board policy, and the expenses will be paid for by the Tech Club.
Okay, we need a motion.
I move that we approve it.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. And then, we are moving on to item 14, the President's Report. At this time, I would really like to thank Nick and his staff for a wonderful presentation. I mean, this is really, really great. Can we put this on the website, Jamie?
It is on the Plymouth Foundation. They do have a summary of the
Okay,
programs.
so the whole summary is there?
So, yeah, there
It is really.
all the different ones in it.
I can't excuse me, I got a little hoarse in my throat. I can't commend you for such a wonderful presentation. It's really, really great. And we need more of these. It really is encouraging for us on the board to see this. So that ends the President's Report. Carrie?
Yeah, thank you, Tim. You know, we plan these strategic plans, and thank you for following through. It's very nice.
Support we get from the foundation with the board and the
Great. All right, and tonight, the superintendent report. All of our winter sports are in full swing and having great success. Last Saturday, our Momentum Show Choir earned first runner-up in exceptional choreography in the prep division at Burlington's Chocolate City Showcase. And Davis Suko was awarded Best Male Vocalist. And this is the first time in school history that we were able to get to this level. And so we're very proud of what we were able to do. Our forensics team took first place in the small team division at Port Washington Forensics Pirate Invitational. Our Peers for Peers raised money through singing candy canes for a family who lost their mother and volunteered to help with Toys for Tots through St. Vincent de Paul. The National Honor Society at Christmas for our food drive raised $2,000 and 1,700 food items for the food pantry this year. And in addition, they also raised $500 for Safe Harbor. That was an excellent drive. And last Friday, I just want to thank the high school for hosting our 8th graders to high school day. We had a visitation from Riverview Middle School, St. John Lutheran, St. John Baptist, and Lake Country Academy, and it really was a great day. So thank you very much. I know those are long days, but outstanding. And as far as our calendar goes, we have January 23rd and 24th upcoming with final exams at the high school. On January 25th actually is our PD day, so it's a week from this Friday. I knew we would bring that up, so I wasn't worried about it. February 11th is the next committee of the whole meeting at 5 o'clock. And then in February, on February 14th and 15th, there's no school. February 14th is a professional development day, and the 15th is a conference comp day. So there will be no school on both of those days. And then on February 19th, we have our next Board of Education meeting at 7 o'clock here in the amphitheater. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Carrie.
You bet.
And now it's time to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Here, do you need this?